Well, it appears that President Trump's COVID has caused an outbreak of TDS on Twitter and other social media and other news sites. So I'm going to try to give you some of the highlights. And I also have some other individual news headlines that I really wanted to share with you at the end. So stick with me, folks, and I'll be right back. Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and it's kind of late because I was going through all this stuff, so this is going to be a lightly edited video. I'm not going to take out all the stuff, if I stammer and stutter, but I will try to take out any major glitches that I make. But let's get going on this because I got tons here. Okay, so Rochester, New York Mayor Warren indicted on charges including defraud in first degree and violation of election law. Okay, now we talked about this if you were with me on Saturday morning's video where we did the live chat thing, the premiere. Those are awful fun. I really do have a good time doing those with you guys. So I hope maybe I can do those a couple times a week. We'll see how it works. But anyway, so evidently Lovely Warren, what a name, Lovely Warren was indicted Friday on campaign finance charges stemming from her re-election campaign 3 years ago. And so this seems to be happening. It's like in the news lately, there have been several people in positions of power that have been indicted lately. It does seem to be that maybe there's a house cleaning of some kind going on. I did mention this, but here's the whole detail on it if you want to see what she was indicted for and everything. And she, of course, is calling it a political witch hunt, which I'm sure just about everybody who gets charged with something is going to be saying that. But only President Trump was right on it. Anyway, so yeah, it has to do with the PACs and how they work with the campaigns and its finances. So, the FEC has certain guidelines that they have to follow. So evidently they didn't follow the guidelines. Now, what I can understand is that she didn't follow the guidelines and she's getting indicted. So what's the deal with Ilhan Omar? She didn't follow the guidelines, but she just got a slap on the wrist because she didn't mean to. So anyway, I'll leave that down below. All of these links are going to be down below, believe it or not, but they'll be there. There's probably 30 of them at this point. Anyway, this was an article also that I shared on Saturday in the chat. But I wanted to just point this out to you because it doesn't seem to be getting much airplay. People are all focused on President Trump with his version of the China virus, but they're missing things like this. This was at their presidential debate that 11 people tested positive, and they all came from the presidential debate. Now, it says that they were, media or organizers of this week's presidential debate. Now, I'm not going to get into a conspiracy theory here, but just seems odd that some of them might be media, because I could really see these media people dying on their swords, just to get back at Trump. I can really see it. So I'm not saying that's what happened. I just think that it's highly suspicious. And I also know that the Rose Garden timing makes more sense. So that's possible. And I've got something to share with you on that too. But, I don't know. I really don't know. But there were 11 positive. Now, here's an update on it. Cleveland officials traced COVID cases back to debate before Trump was on site. So, what can you do before someone's on site? Was his podium contaminated? I mean, it's possible, right? I really would not suggest that, but the way things have been, they're so crazy. And you're going to see, okay, when we get into the Twitter stuff, you're going to see just how crazy they are. I mean, let's get going. You'll see. Okay. So, I thought it was very interesting that they did trace it back to the debate before Trump was on site. So, who knows what they were doing before he was there. And so anyway, and obviously the timing would have to be, it'd have to be a different strain or something that would be a super contaminant because of the timing on that, if it happened at the debate. It's just really weird that 11 people, I mean, that's a significant amount of people that were helping to set everything up, came down with it. Kind of just odd. Anyway, speaking of 11, this is odd too, because now this is today's scandal of the day. I told you we were going to do like a scandal of the day. Every day there's a new scandal. Well, this is the one now because Trump's Secret Service has struggled with outbreak at training center. This is from the New York Times. Right. And at least 11 people. What's the deal with 11? I mean, I like the number 11. It's a fine number. But what's with the 11? Because you had 11 back here. Is that significant in some way? I just gotta ask. Anyway, tested positive in August. Why are we not hearing about that before this? Why did they wait until today in October to tell us this? Don't you think that if that was true, they'd had it all over the New York Times back in August? Oh, no. But they're trying to say now, see, Trump's way of handling things was so poor that his Secret Service agents were all getting sick. Yeah. Well, this is from the Rose Garden, and one of the researchers on the board did this. I thought it was a very interesting picture, the way that they did it. But you can see here, these are like the White House. These are the people that are the inner circle. There's Chris Christie back there because he tested positive. And I believe Reverend John Jenkins tested positive. Kellyanne, here's Kellyanne, she did, and Melania. And then, I don't know, some of these, have tested positive, some have not. And so I don't know why they would or why they wouldn't. But it just seems interesting that a lot of them that were right here in this upper front row area were the ones that got it. Now, you even notice, you got 3 of them here wearing masks. So, 4 over here too. So, just interesting on that. And I thought the picture was just a good way of pointing those out. Maybe we need to keep an eye on those people and see if they come down with it or not. And maybe we'll know a little bit better. I don't know who was at the, which of those people was actually at the, the debate. So it'd be interesting to cross-reference them and to see. I know Chris Christie was helping President Trump, I think, prepare for the debate. So it could have been, he could have been there. I would assume he was there if he was helping him prepare. So I'm assuming he went to the debate. So I don't know who all was there. But anyway, Scavino, of course, by now you probably heard all this because it's old news. But Scavino talked to him, said he was great. And he said, not a problem. But he said he is a warrior and laser focused. The reason I point that out is because Mr. 17 mentioned you don't come to a fight with arrows, and you come instead with a laser focused thing. So I just thought I would point that out to you. Anyway, going on, here's this one. I wanted to show you this because she says, talk about TDS, it is very likely that Russian intelligence agencies, through signal and human intel sources at Walter Reed, etc., have more information about the president's condition than we do, though I think we all know how the president is doing. Doctors lie too. This is just, it's so crazy. And if you don't know what TDS is, Trump Derangement Syndrome, I'm assuming you probably have heard of that by now. Raheem Kassam, he's actually one that I'm really enjoying following lately. He's with the, the National Pulse. They've got a really good website with a lot of really good articles. Anyway, another psycho conspiracy tweet from another CNN analyst You marking all these down as reliable sources, Brian Stelter? Because Brian Stelter's show is called Reliable Sources, which is the stupidest thing under the sun. That's the worst name to call it. So, anyway, I just thought I would point out how crazy these people are getting. Okay, Joy Behar says, why does Trump need all those doctors? It's like, hello? And I like Field of Fight, which is I think General Flynn tweets under Field of Fight these days. His snarkiness, I just think so. I don't know who's running it. It may not be him. It may be like his brother or something, but whoever's running it is saying the stuff we want to say. He says he's the president, moron. So anyway, yeah, it's like, hello. I don't get this. You can't tell why the president of the United States, the most powerful man in the world, needs all those doctors. Oh, goodness. Because he's worth a whole lot more than you right now, Joy. He really is. Anyway, I like this one. Trump caught the Rona and still making more appearances than Biden. So, anyway. And then this, I gotta tell you, this one just cracks me up. Now, if you don't know, the Babylon Bee is a satire site, okay? So they did this article, Coronavirus Panics After Testing Positive for Trump. Coronavirus has begun panicking after testing positive for Trump. The test came back late Thursday evening, and doctors confirmed the worst. The coronavirus has contracted Trump 45. Oh no, we're doomed, cried tiny little coronaviruses, frantically looking for a way to escape Trump's body. But Trump held his breath and plugged his nose and ears, sealing off escape hatch after escape hatch, preventing the viruses from leaving his body. Superpowered Trump antibodies, shaped like little Ys with orange hair, charged in, sealing the coronavirus's fate. Game over, man. Game over. They're coming out of the blood vessel walls. They're coming out of the gosh darn walls. The coronaviruses screamed as they made their desperate last stand. Coronavirus was also concerned it might be called a Nazi and doxxed for its association with Donald Trump. These fears appeared to be justified as CNN immediately began digging up coronavirus's old tweets. Oh, I tell you, this site is so good. If you've never been there, you need to go. They got this one. Trump preemptively pens dying wish, canceling out RBG's dying wish. Party that wants to run your healthcare routes for political opponent to die. Yeah, isn't that the truth? I mean, they have so much truth in them. It's just too funny. And then down here... Liberals desperately pray for Trump's healing after realizing Mike Pence next in line for presidency. And you've got to read some of these because they're great articles. Governor Cuomo generously offers to admit Trump to New York nursing home. Don't go. I like this one. New footage shows heroic Trump leaping in front of Mike Pence to protect him from sneeze. And then Governor Whitmer refuses to throw Ring of Power back into fires of Mount Doom. We're going to talk about that later. But yeah, I mean, this stuff is great. It is great. You really need to go check this place out because there are so many good ones here and they're coming out with new ones all the time. So you really do have to keep up with the Babylon Bee. It's worth it. It's worth it. But speaking of the Babylon Bee, they did one. And this is from the National Review. And this is the stupidest fact check in the history of fact checking. Okay? So the name of the article was The Ninth Circuit Court Overturns Death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It said, in a landmark ruling, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has overturned the death of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Death, at its core, is a construct designed to subvert the rule of law by taking pro-choice liberal judges away from us too soon. We hereby rule any attempt by President Trump to appoint a replacement to be unconstitutional. We will block any attempt until we figure out a way to resurrect her or maybe clone her and restore her to already legally alive state. We're still figuring that part out. Okay, so what did they do? USA Today found it necessary for some reason to publish a fact check of this. Why? And their fact check ended up, I mean, it's so funny because this person that wrote the fact check had she had 800 words listing 15 sources to conclude, we rate this claim satire based on our research, a satirical article about the Ninth Circuit overturning Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death has no basis in fact. You think? It is true that the Ninth Circuit has ruled against many Trump-era policies. You heard that right. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of funny. And, this is the thing right here. This is how stupid they've become. TDS, I'm telling you folks, right there. They had to fact check it. Okay, well, General Flynn tweeted this out because I think, we all need to remember this. Stand strong, America. God bless the USA. And then down here, for nothing is concealed that won't be revealed, and nothing hidden that won't be made known and brought to light. That's from Luke 8:17. So we need to remember that. It's a very important time. Stay strong. We're okay. We're going to make things happen here. And then Matt Whitaker came out with this. He says, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And that's from Isaiah 41:10. So just kind of interesting. Those were a couple of really good verses shared today. And I'm recording this Sunday night, or really early Monday morning. So I thought those would be good for, people to hear. Well, let's get into some of the craziness. All right. Now, guys, when I got to tell you, I look at conspiracy theories with an open mind, but sometimes I just don't agree with them. And a lot that goes on, there's a lot of speculation, especially about what Mr. 17 has said, because the nature of the operation is to leave things open-ended enough, for plausible deniability. So, this is one I don't agree with. Now, you may think differently. That's up to you. Okay, it's fine. But this one suggests that he's on a ship. Now, the reason for it is because he claims that in here, let's see if I can get to it. Okay. He has these little stickers that he put up for some of the lines along here, and he wants you to watch them because they go up and down. All right. And he says that would come with a ship going, moving slightly. Well, the thing is, I really believe that this was videoed by somebody with a camera on their shoulder, a big camera. I don't think they had the big setup. I don't think they had the tripod. I think it was just a cameraman holding the camera. Because if you watch, it's almost moving like someone was breathing, and when you breathe, your body moves a little bit. Even if you're a really good cameraman, it's still going to move a little bit. So they said, he said on here, well, why didn't they have a tripod? Wouldn't you think they'd have a tripod? Not necessarily. Tripods are pretty bulky, and I can imagine that probably President Trump did this more on a spur of the moment type thing. So, I don't know. I don't know for sure. I can't tell you for sure. But in my opinion, he is not on a ship. Okay. He is really at Walter Reed's, or at least probably by the time you see this, he'll probably be back at the White House, because I think he's chomping at the bit to do that. But again, not saying that this guy isn't right. I don't believe it. Okay. So if you want to think differently, that's up to you. I'm just not buying this one because I really do think it looks more, like somebody with a camera, that just a little bit of shake with the camera. So, again, that's my thoughts on that one. Well, this one says that he's not at Walter Reed and he's not sick. All right. And I'll leave this so you can look through them for yourself. And he claims that everything, he was wearing exactly the same outfit, the same jacket and tie, and the same mask and everything when he went to Walter Reed before, back in, what was it, July, when he went. And so he thinks that everything that we're seeing was footage that was filmed from then. All right. Again, that's what this guy claims. I don't believe this one. Okay. The reason I don't is because I truly believe he has coronavirus. Right, folks? I really do. Why? Because when the first video that he did when he was sitting at the table, there was a slight bit of a breathing issue. Just slight. Very, very slight. And I noticed it because I kind of have a little bit of a breathing issue from time to time. And I have to cut my sentences short sometimes. And it was a similar thing to what I've experienced. So I picked up on that. And I do think, I know he wasn't wearing makeup and stuff, but I think he looked a little drug out. Okay. Not quite himself. That first video. Now, the next one I saw, the one he did today, looked pretty good. I do believe that he is sick. I know I know the 10 days. I know all this stuff, guys. I just don't think this is it. All right. I think it's probably, we're going to see some things happen maybe after the election. It's all going to depend. But anyway, one of the reasons too that I don't believe that he's somewhere else, I think he really is at Walter Reed, is because he did this today. He got in the Beast and he drove, he had him drive down one side of the street and then turn around, come back, because there were all kinds of people out there with Trump flags and cheering him on and everything. You should have heard the people as they were going through. I think The Hill has a clip. This may be the clip of it. If it is, take that, because there's some guy at the end who's going, "I'd die for that man. I would die for that man." It's just kind of funny to hear. Although many of us feel the same way, that we believe that he is definitely a hero and he's definitely doing a wonderful work right now for our country that will be talked about in history books for the rest of our country's life. That's for sure. But anyway, it was really neat to watch the people along the side cheering him on and everything. And they were just tickled to see him waving. And that's him. Okay. So, I just think that you have to make up a lot of stuff to make it a conspiracy idea, or that he's not really there or anything. I just am not going to buy that. Anyway, I thought this was kind of funny. With a single motorcade trip, Trump managed to get the far left to care about the safety of law enforcement again, because, now they're saying, "Oh, but all those law enforcement people, you put them all in danger, and oh no, what do you do?" Yeah. No, they don't care about him. They don't care one little bit. Besides, he was in the Beast. Okay, I don't know if you know much about the Beast, but I did, one of my books deals with a president, and I had him in the Beast, and I did a lot of research on it. This thing, if you've ever seen it, I saw it the door open the other day. It's like what, 6 inches thick or something? I mean, it's huge. It's really, really thick. And the car itself is made so that if there is like a gas attack or something outside, it has its own air. And so it's sealed, man. It is sealed tight. And so I don't think there was any problem there. There's actually a barrier too, like a window, that separates the back from the front. So again, I really don't think that there was any danger to anyone. He he discussed it with his doctors and the Secret Service and everything, and he said that's what he wanted to do. And I heard that, they worked it out, and they said, "Give us a couple hours," and they did it. I also heard that he bought like 100 pizzas for the people out there. So I don't know, maybe the campaign did that or whatever. I'm sure it came out of his own pocket. He wouldn't use any government money for that. But of course, that's just who he is. Really, it is. So I thought that was kind of neat too. I I don't think I have that particular one up, but, and this guy says, today I learned that leftists don't actually believe masks work. If they did, they'd have no problems with Trump's SUV ride. True, true, true. And then this one says, people with masks get sick, people without masks get sick. And it's because masks likely do not work to prevent transmission of influenza-like illnesses. That's what decades of research have demonstrated. And this is a doctor here, okay? So, Dr. Scott. So I just thought that was interesting too. That's it. If you look at the research says it really doesn't make a difference. So if you wear masks and you get sick, if you don't wear masks and you get sick, then really, do masks work? I mean, think about this. You got these nursing homes that, like here in my town, we had a nursing home situation where somehow people got sick. Well, how did that happen if all the staff were wearing masks and other people weren't allowed in at that time? So how did people get sick? You know, this is the thing. But that kind of evidence, people aren't thinking it through. They're not looking at that. So, I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's going to stop, like, big drops. But then again, if you're smart and you have courtesy, when you cough or when you sneeze, you're going to cover it anyway. So, anyway. And then this guy, yes, he is a CBS News radio guy. And he says, it is outrageous for the president to have left the hospital, even briefly, amid a health crisis without a protective pool present to ensure that the American people know where their president is and how he is doing. Now more than ever, the American public deserves independent coverage of the president so they can be reliably informed about his health. Okay, now, as I read this, okay, I can assume that protective pool means a bunch of reporters. So the guy can't leave the hospital just to try. I mean, it was like just a couple blocks down, turn around and come back. He can't do that without a bunch of protective pool reporters. Why are they protective? They're not protecting him. No. So they were complaining because, well, the only thing that comes out is what the president has said should come out. Well, that is true. But still, now we don't trust doctors. See, they were the ones that were saying, oh, you got to trust the experts, right? You got to trust them. And now, oh, we don't trust the experts. Because remember, the one we saw before, doctors lie. Oh, geez. Well, speaking of crazy people here, this is Jennifer Rubin. Now, you've heard me talk about her a few times before because she claims to be conservative. But you know what? I noticed she has taken this off. It doesn't say conservative here anymore. So I think that's very interesting. She's a never Trumper. She admits that. Pro-democracy opinion writer. So at least she had come clean on that. I'm so glad she took the word conservative off there. But she says, I would suggest COVID has already impaired his judgment. So he's at risk. So he's a risk to others. 25th Amendment, anyone? Okay, now you remember the 25th Amendment is where, you know, if the president is not competent to be, you know, if a health issue causes him to not be competent, not be able to carry on his duties, you know, they can remove him. And if they have, but they'd have to have the vice president and some of the cabinet members, and that's not going to happen, okay? But this is the reason they're trying to make him sicker than he is, okay? That's exactly it. They're hoping they can somehow get a 25th Amendment. I'm telling you, they're throwing everything out there they can, everything in the kitchen sink, because they're running out of ammo. They just don't have it left. So, yeah, craziness abounds, and she definitely has TDS. Anytime they call themselves a never Trumper, they're TDS, definitely. So anyway, then we have this, talk about TBS. So, Biden campaign suggests he will show up to second debate even if COVID-19 prevents Trump from appearing. So, Biden will show up. Even if Trump's not there, Biden will be there. Yeah. Okay, now I got a question for you. Would you consider a president of the United States as an essential employee? And when we had all these lockdowns and everything, where were the essential employees? They were working, right? They had to go to work every day. And some of you are essential employees. You had to be there. Doctors had to be there. Nurses had to be there. We had, food suppliers, truck drivers. We had people at the grocery stores. Everybody like that had to keep working. You kept working. You were out there. Okay? But Joe Biden, he wouldn't be there. If he were president, he wouldn't be out there. He wouldn't. He'd be cowering in the White House. So, very interesting. By the way, somebody said, and I don't know if it's true because I didn't figure it out, but they said 2020 divided by 666 comes out this. So, well, with decimals. But I just thought that was interesting. I don't know. I didn't add it. I didn't use the calculator, so I don't know. But somebody said it. Anyway, so yeah, there's the thing that they're hoping he can join them on October 15th. Oh, he will. He'll be there. Unless the man is dead, he will be there. Because I know him. Well, at least I don't know him personally, but I know his character. And I guarantee you that if he is able to stand up, he will be there. I honestly think that he could probably debate Joe Biden today. He probably could have debated him yesterday and still would have beat him. So you're not getting out of it that easy, Joe. And by the way, we're not shutting the mic off. The Trump campaign cannot allow that. Because if you can shut off the mic, you know what's going to happen. And it's not going to be fair. Especially since the moderator used to work for Joe. So, definitely not going to happen on that one. And I really think that we need to consider, again, if Joe Biden would happen to become president, which is not going to happen, but if he would, who's going to shut off the mic when Putin gets in his face? Who's going to shut off the mic when Kim Jong-un gets in his face? Or President Xi? What are you going to do? Huh? You're going to just, well, I need somebody to turn off the mic because they're being mean to me. Yeah, well, that's why it shouldn't be allowed at all. I'm sorry, it's not. I would hope that President Trump would give him a little more chance to say something because the more Joe talks, the worse he looks. So, just let him hang himself. Anyway, this one was deleted. But this squirrel b-ball, and they said, we are targeting all of you. And said this, essentially and they deleted it, so I can't show you, but their bio said that they are somebody to go out and just, that's their purpose, is to get rid of Trump supporters. So, claimed to be a lawyer, and this guy says, so as a lawyer, you're saying your targeting of President Trump's supporters here on Twitter is intentional and with malicious intent. And the reason he did that was because that's the standard right there for libel. I don't know. It's the written one. But I think that's it, libel. So that's the standard. And if they were doing it intention and malicious intent, intentionally, then yeah, they probably could be sued. And so, very interesting. But, I'm kind of wondering, see, it says this tweet is unavailable. I kind of wonder if this person wasn't a troll. And I'll tell you a little bit more about trolls in a little bit. But one of the things I know about trolls, how the algorithm sees people as trolls, is if you only tweet about one certain thing. Like if you only do politics and you don't talk about anything else, like who won the game or big game or whatever, who, that you went and did something, that you went here or you went there, you post a picture of your pet, whatever, that a lot of times the troll ones, or at least how they perceive them as trolls, are ones that don't do anything personal. All they do is talk about Trump, talk about Trump, talk about Trump. So my recommendation is, if you have a Twitter account or even on Facebook, I know you don't want to put a lot of personal stuff. I understand that. But you might want to just put in some things that aren't like, that they're more personal, that they show that you're a real person. So I don't know how you want to perceive that, but if you can do that, I think it will maybe keep you on here a little longer instead of getting you booted. I wanted to bring this to your attention. There are a couple things going on right now with the research board. And this website right here, I'm sure you're familiar with this because this allows you to do a search. It's a really great resource, but check out what's going on here. Now, this logically.ai is the same company, same organization that doxed the QMAP guy. So this person got this today, on October 2nd. He said, I received the following email. My name is, and he censored that, and I'm a disinformation researcher at a website called Logically. We recently did a story on the, Q aggregator site, QMAP, in which we tied the identity of the website operator to an info security specialist from New Jersey. We're currently doing a piece on QAnon aggregators, past and present. According to our information, you are linked to this site. And I was wondering if we could ask you a few questions about this. Obviously, if you're concerned about having your name out there, we're happy to discuss those concerns and see what we can do about it. Yeah, you're going to dox them. Let me know your thoughts and if you'd be willing to arrange a phone call. So you may have realized it, disinformation researcher. So anyway, this is some of the info, and they've been digging on this person and this organization. So it's just be prepared, okay? The aggregators are not the originators. We know that, but they believe that if they can take down the aggregators, they can take everything down. So just be aware of that. Don't get panicked. There'll be more popping up. But anyway, it is a battle. And so this guy says this is the guy. He says, we're getting a lot of asks about the other aggregators. And he said, Nick and I are collecting data on these two, and are in the process of compiling a report on all known alternates. It will be published in redacted form. Media can contact us if they want the full version. So please be aware that what they did was they followed this QAnon lead, and that's how they traced it back to QMAP. So it's really hard to be doing something like this and have your name out there. So please, 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 if you are supporting these people, be aware of it. Just be prepared, because the doxing can cause real trouble. As far as I know, QMAP guy is suspended on, I think it's a paid suspension right now from his job. So sad. I mean, it's really sad. But anyway, so lots of that going on. Plus, I also want to tell you that I haven't had a lot of time to spend on the boards lately, but I do know that the last 2 or 3 days, they've been having trouble with bakers who don't want to turn over the notables and are doing, they're taking out stuff from the notables that they don't like, and they're adding in stuff that shouldn't be there. And so then they create a board, and then a real baker creates another board. So there's duplicate boards, and it's been really kind of a mess lately. So keep them in your prayers, because it's a battlefield. We definitely are fighting an information war here. Then the rest of the stuff is kind of just little headlines that I want to give to you. I don't know if you remember this lady. She was on Tucker, and she was the one who says she knows and she has evidence that the Communist Party intentionally manufactured and released COVID. So her mother was arrested, which you got to wonder if she's not telling the truth, why would they arrest her mother? So kind of adds weight to her story. And there is a whole article here if you want to read it from the National Pulse. And then this was something that came up. The new migrant caravan rams through Honduran police on their way to the U.S. border. But I've heard that the Guatemalan police have turned them back. I don't know for sure, but that's possible. Oh, and then they were trying to say, a lot of them were trying to say that Mark Meadows was the anonymous source who said Trump was a lot worse off than what the doctors were saying. And I'm pretty sure he wasn't, okay? But he did have a little thing here where he had a press conference, and then he said something about being off the record, but we don't know what he said to him. So I just thought that was kind of odd. Please don't go that route, Mark. We don't need that. And then this one right here, Investors Business Daily has this. U.S. has 3.5 million more registered voters than live adults. A red flag for electoral fraud. I mean, for sure, when you have more voters than you have actual adults, there's a problem. So that should be something that should concern all of us, that they have that. So Judicial Watch's Election Integrity Project, the group looked at data from 2011 to 2015 produced by the U.S. Census Bureau's American Community Survey. That's the short version they send out, along with data from the Federal Election Assistance Commission. And it says, some 3.5 million more people are registered to vote in the U.S. than are alive among America's adults. So, yep. Pretty serious there as far as I'm concerned. And if you remember, I remember back in 2012 that there were counties where 100% voted for Obama. And I was like, wait, not one person didn't vote for him? I find that really hard to believe. That surely in every precinct there's going to be at least one person. Or maybe you'd have maybe one of those. But it'd be an oddity. But I think it was in Ohio or Pennsylvania. I can't remember which. But they had several that went that way. And it's like, no, sorry, not buying that. And, oh, look, 11 counties. What is it with all the 11s lately? Oh, just weird. But anyway, yeah, California, for instance, has 11 counties with more registered voters than actual voters. So California, gee, that's surprising. The sarcasm in my voice, right? Richard Grenell has said, I'm calling for an investigation into Gavin Newsom's election interference. This is a scandal. It's being ignored by the media. It's happening every day. Here are 2 ballots mailed to 2 people who have been dead for more than 10 years. Yep, there they are. And here's where it has that article that I just talked about. And so, yeah, this is definitely something. Now, if a governor is aware that their voter rolls are not clean and that they have registered people on there that are not truly citizens or are not alive, I wonder if that can be some kind of election interference, because it certainly would be if you're not taking the steps. Well, I think it would be like a color of law type thing, wouldn't it? Because if they're not taking the proper steps to clean up those voter rolls, then I think they should be held accountable. I really do. So if you're interested in helping things out and really helping to move things forward, you can start using some of these hashtags and things. These would be really good ones to do. And so this is getting you involved and getting you to help us out, because these kinds of things, we need to get these, we need to get the House back. We need to have the House. We need to have all 3. The House, the Senate, and the White House. We need to have it all. And we need to talk about the do-nothing Democrats. And so here are the different things you can look at for if you need memes, if you need... this one right here is about how to disguise the memes so they'll get through the censors. And it has to do, I think, with an overlay of something onto the picture or something. That's what I was trying to read the other night, and I was kind of going over my head because I was really tired. So these are just different things that you can check out, and I'll put the link to this notable down below so you can help out if you want to. Then this is what I was talking about with Michigan, that the court, the high court, the Supreme Court in Michigan ruled that the laws, or at least one of the laws underpinning the orders of Governor Whitmer was unconstitutional. Okay, so one of them was. So the Supreme Court ruled that they should not be in effect. Okay, and then there was this 21-day rule. So Whitmer's trying to say, well, I have 21 days before it takes effect. And the Supreme Court said, no, we're not going to enforce these COVID orders because the ruling is they were saying they're unconstitutional. So hopefully this is going to keep her from what she had planned. She had planned 21 more days of hell on earth for Michiganders, that's for sure. But hopefully that's going to take her power away and she won't be able to do that. Like I said, like the Babylon Bee said, she doesn't want to give up the ring of power, right? Okay, the last one I've got for you on this one is this right here, how the DNC hired Crowdstrike to frame Russia for the hack. Guess what? You know who that deals with? I guess Seth is going to be back in the news very soon. And I think his parents may be not real happy about it. But anyway, so this is very interesting. And if you really need to have it all put together, Dan Bongino, the last 3 or 4 days, he's had really good ones that tell you all about it and that put everything together for you. And he has a guy there named Anthony Ferrante, I think his name is, who they believe, at least Bongino says, was the actual insider in the White House, who was kind of keeping track of things and essentially being a mole. And he was reporting everything back to his people, his bosses in the FBI. And so there were some, I had one thread from Twitter that said that it was Dan Coates. I don't know that Dan Coates was the person doing that, but he definitely played a role because there were a lot of things he could have declassified. But, and I don't want to really necessarily defend him because I'm very disappointed. I voted for the guy and I was very disappointed that he turned into what he was. But I think that with him, he didn't have quite the access because the FBI at that time was really stonewalling things. And so was the CIA. So, if you've got those two organizations stonewalling the documents, which we know now the CIA is still stonewalling. So a lot of the documents that need to come out haven't been able to come out because they can't get them released. So it's very possible that Dan Coates, when he was the DNI, he may not have had access to some of these. But I do know that Dan Coates also was keeping things from coming out. So even if he would have had access to them, he probably would not have released them. So we're very grateful that we have John Radcliffe in there, and Radcliffe is doing what he needs to do. He's going to make sure that everything gets put out. So I'm looking forward to it. There's more coming. I think October is going to see a lot of these documents being released. The newest ones, remember, the newest ones are, really pointing at Brennan and then at Clinton. And those are huge revelations that we need to share. So this article right here is a really good article because it tells you, it's setting the stage. I can just see it now. It is setting the stage for what's going to happen and how it's going to be revealed that the DNC server was not hacked by the Russians. So we know that. We've known that for a long time, and it's been a conspiracy theory up until now. But now, like I said, this right here is starting to say, up, look. And if you watch the Dan Bongino ones, I can't remember which one it was. I think it came out on Friday maybe, or Thursday. Thursday or Friday, and it's mostly at the end where he talks about it, but he lays it all out, and especially it has to do with one date in particular, July 26th of 2016. And so many things happened right along in there, and especially like the very next day, I think it was, Robbie Mook came out. He was the campaign manager, and he came out, and he was the one that started the Russia hacked the DNC server thing. So it's all coming out. It really is. More and more all the time, folks. It's exciting time to live in. It's going to wear us all out before November 3rd, but, you know, it's still very necessary to come out. It's starting to get good, you know. Grab more popcorn. Oh, we're going to need a lot of popcorn because it's not over with. And I don't know about, you know, President Trump is still going to have to be careful for the next couple of weeks just to see how it does affect him, because, you know, he's no spring chicken. And I think that's the reason why the focus has been on him and not on Melania. But I'm sure he was not real happy having to leave, but they felt like they needed him there. And maybe there were other reasons. I mean, I've heard all kinds of stuff that, you know, there was an assassination attempt and they wanted to move him out of there because of that. I would think the White House grounds would be a little safer than anywhere else for that. But who knows? I don't know. And so just as things are going on right now, everything's kind of up in the air. Just take everything with a grain of salt. When I was talking about Chris Wallace, I said that the picture that I saw was not conclusive. And we shouldn't, because it took a picture of him getting on a boat, and over here's Epstein standing there, and it's like they're two separate pictures. You can't take two pictures like that and just put them together and say, look. No. But I will tell you that his father, Mike Wallace, his name is in Epstein's black book. It's not in the flight logs, but it's in the black book. So Chris's isn't, but Mike Wallace's is. That still doesn't necessarily mean he was a client, because he was in the media, so it could very well just be a media connection. And so, you know, you kind of have to look at it that way with that black book, because you don't know for sure if it's a connection for the sexual purposes or not. So you just have to kind of look at it. And I do know that he's in there. So I'm not saying there's not a connection there. I'm just saying the picture I saw was not a good connection. It really they were two separate pictures that had nothing to do with each other. So be careful, okay? Just be careful. We need to make sure that we're finding the truth and we're finding accurate representations, you know, accurate articles, accurate photos and things, because there's a lot of people out there right now who are trying to paint us in a very bad light. And we need to make sure that we're standing up for what's right without adding in stuff we can't prove. Like, you know, there are just so many things. I don't want people to get mad at me, but, you know, the thing about the children being rescued from underground stuff, we have no proof, okay? Stop it. It may be true and may end up being true, but right now we have no proof. And when you ask people what the proof is, they tell you to go watch such and such a video, and the videos have no proof in them. So just stop perpetuating that. If that is true, it will come out and the researchers will find the documentation. But until it's documented, don't pass it on, because we have no way of knowing whether that's true or not. And so I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying we can't have, we've got to only pass on things that we can document. That's the whole purpose of this movement, is to take information that should be out there. If we had a free press that was honest and was actually trying to do their job, they would be putting this out there. But instead, we have to find other sources, and we have to get the information out there through other means. And so always make sure that you check where things are coming from. You know, what is the source of this? And if you can't nail down a source, be careful. And just because somebody said it doesn't make it true. So be very, very careful when you're doing things like this. There is a concerted effort right now to discredit us. So we have to be careful, especially careful, okay, about what we're sharing. Things like this, you know, when you've got an article like this, you can go through and they will give documentation for it, because that's what, you know, this does. It tells more than just this is what happened, but there are actual, you know, these are things that you can check out. They are documented now, and we're starting to see all this stuff. See, you know, you've got this quote, you've got actual quotes and things. So just be very careful is what I'm saying. Verify your sources. There are some sources out there that are trying to just make us look bad. And we don't want to look bad. We want to make sure people get the truth, because you know what? We don't have to alter the truth. The truth is enough. It's there. And it's so obvious at this point. And I think more and more people are starting to really get it. I think there's a big fear that our movement is much, much bigger than they imagined. I saw that. Somebody tweeted that the other day. And they're true. It's true. There's a lot more people involved than they know. And it's like the tip of the iceberg, remember? There's a lot underneath. The silent majority is the huge part underneath that's going to sink the Titanic. So this is going to be an interesting time. Keep the president in your prayers, and all those around him, and especially Melania. They haven't said much about her. So, and especially, you know, since she had that hit piece that just came out not too long ago. So, you know, keep them all in your prayers that they'll be safe. And we have a lot of senators right now who are ill, who have just been diagnosed as positive. And the thing is, I think the Chuck Schumer is trying to make it sound like, well, we can't do any votes, we can't do any hearing or anything because they're all sick. So, we won't be able to do that. Well, you know, they still can do the hearing. I mean, they're still doing Zoom calls or whatever, and they use WebEx, I think. You know, I would think our government would look into something like Adobe Connect, because Adobe Connect is so much better than WebEx. I used to do webinars, and I can tell you Adobe Connect is the best. It's a little pricier, but boy, it works, and there's clarity, and you don't have to worry about calls being dropped, and yeah, so it's a lot better. But anyway, I would think that by now they have some idea on how that's going to work. Now, I do have to tell you that the House has voted to make it so they can vote. They can actually vote by proxy, but the Senate has not done that, and I don't think they should. But really, with the timetable, they should still be able to do this nomination and confirmation before the election, because essentially they don't have to have the hearing. Maybe this is all going to work out, so they won't do the hearing, because I really don't want to hear these lies about this woman. I don't want to hear them trying to destroy her life, and that's what they're going to do. Reclaiming my time. You know how it works. So I really do think that it's all going to work out, that they are going to be able to do this. And I think for their own sake, they're going to have to. Because if these senators do not get this if they don't get it done before the election, they may not be reelected. So whoever's up for election this year, they need to be careful. Anyway, that's what I've got for you on this one. I want to thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you.